Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to complete the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Detective Barker, good morning.
Good morning.
You heard all the instructions I gave during the Sergeant Bogany's deposition?
I did.
Okay, do you understand them?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been deposed before?
I have not.
Okay, so first time?
First time.
All right, and as I stated previously, sometimes I ask bad questions that sound better in my head, so if anything's confusing, just let me know.
Okay.
All right. Have you ever been involved in litigation before?
I have not.
Okay, so first instance.
Yes.
Okay. And you're currently employed with who?
Livingston Police
Okay.
Department.
How long have you been there?
2003, I was part-time. I went to full-time in 2005.
Okay. And what is your role? I know, for example, Sergeant Bogany works patrol. Your role as a detective?
Yes.
Okay. What do you do as a detective?
We review offense reports that come in from the officers and determine criminal elements in offense reports that equal criminal offenses, and we draft arrest warrants, we write search warrants, we request subpoenas, work with the DA's office in submitting cases to the DA's office, those types of things. More of an investigatory response to calls.
Do you make final charging decisions on these cases?
Yes.
Okay. Do you ever, and I guess you provide a supplement, do you provide supplement reports to the incident reports?
Yes.
Okay. And then do your reports get reviewed by anybody?
Yes.
Okay, who is that?
Our lieutenant, the patrol lieutenant. Well, his title is patrol lieutenant, but he's a lieutenant over everybody.
Okay, and what's his name?
The current one is David Mitchell.
Okay, but at the time of this incident, it was Lieutenant Marty Drake?
Yes.
Prior to February 2022, had you had any interactions with any of the plaintiffs?
No, I had not, except for Miss, I don't know, is it McCrory or Trimble now? I knew her as McCrory. I don't know specific interactions with her. I just knew her from just being around the city where I worked and see her maybe on call. I don't know exactly where. I just recognized her, but I don't know any specific interactions we'd had.
Okay. Would she ever film you?
No.
Okay. Prior to February 2022, were you familiar with what I've seen police and others describe as auditors?
Yes.
Okay. You've seen that in Livingston?
I have, yes.
Okay. But not with the plaintiffs?
But prior to February, I was aware of incidents involving Brandon White and our officers, but I had never witnessed them in person.
Okay. How do you become aware of those incidents?
I believe it was Chief Parrish that told us that about Mr. White going around and filming the police officers in the city.
Okay.
Just kind of to make us aware that that's what was going on, not to be alarmed that it's not just some guy walking around with the phone.
Okay. And so he said to not be alarmed. Was there any other instruction?
No.
Okay. Were there any questions or anything about how to handle those circumstances?
No.
Okay. Was there any discussion or guidance to suggest that what Brandon White or others were doing was illegal?
No.
Okay. In February 2022, what was your understanding of an individual's right to film police?
It was legal. Certain limitations apply, of course, but it was legal as long as they didn't interfere with your investigation.
Okay. Did you understand any of the plaintiffs in this case to be interfering with any investigation by filming?
No.
What is your understanding of an individual's right in the state of Texas to open carry firearms?
They are allowed to open carry firearms.
Okay. And I asked a number of questions earlier to the sergeant. What is your understanding of a Texas police officer's right to inspect paperwork concerning a suppressor?
No, I'm not aware of any paperwork needed for espresso. That's not something that I have knowledge of.
Okay. You drafted the arrest affidavits in concerning the first. Let me back up. I'm going to call the first incident the one that involved Sergeant Bogany at Miss Trimble's apartment.
Okay.
Okay. Concerning that interaction, you prepared the arrest affidavit, correct?
Yes.
And you presented that to a judge?
Yes.
Okay. Did you prepare that affidavit by yourself?
I did.
Okay. Was it reviewed by anybody?
No.
Okay.
Other than the judge.
Okay. You didn't make the decision to charge the plaintiffs, did you?
No, that was the district attorney at the time.
Okay. Well, prior to the district attorney, who made the decision to present that information to the district attorney?
That would have been Lieutenant Drake and Chief Parrish.
Okay. And then you were instructed to basically package it all up together?
Correct. I was instructed to charge the individuals with the charge they were charged with, and then present it to the district attorney's office for prosecution.
Okay. Is that normally what happens?
Rephrase.
Sure. So you testified a couple of moments ago that you generally have authority to charge individuals.
Yes.
Okay, and that you make the decision to charge them.
Yes, typically.
Typically. But with plaintiffs here, you did not make that decision. You were instructed to charge them.
Correct.
Is that normal?
Yes, and there are certain times if the lieutenant or the chief is aware of an incident that occurred and I'm either off duty or I'm not around, if they know that there's a charge to be filed, they can come to me and say, hey, this, while you weren't here or while you were unavailable, this is what we discovered and here it is. And then I will, review it and make sure.
Okay, but you weren't, for this particular incident, you weren't involved in any discussions with the police chief or the district attorney concerning charging these individuals?
No, I was not.
Okay, but you were instructed to go ahead and draft up a warrant and present it to the judge?
Correct.
And in so doing, you didn't speak with Sergeant Bogany at all?
No.
You didn't speak with Officer Paskey?
No.
Okay. You did speak with. Let me back up. You were actually out on the scene, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you, by the time you came out at the scene, what is it that you observed?
When I arrived, Sergeant Bogany and Officer Paskey were already at the door to Melanie's apartment. They were speaking to an individual at the door I didn't recognize. Well, let me back up. When I got there, I think they were approaching Melanie's apartment. I don't think they had actually made contact with anybody yet. And I went around to the back of the apartment.
Okay, what were you doing going around back?
It's not uncommon for people when the police knock on the front door that they sometimes run out the back door and attempt to evade the police or hide or whatever the reason is. But that didn't happen in this situation.
Okay, at any point while you were on the scene, did you think a crime had been committed?
No.
And this February 4th was a Friday. At some point, you had meetings with the police chief and the lieutenant on February 8th, so a couple of days later.
I believe, yes, the Tuesday after.
Okay.
I met with Lieutenant Drake.
So were you were you off or what was the gap in time with the meetings?
Yes, this weekend I was off, and then I'm off on Monday. And so
Okay.
that was when I returned to work on Tuesday.
Okay, so basically you show up to the incident on February 4th, and then you take a couple of days off, you come back, you're meeting with Detective Middleton at one point, right?
Yes.
And then you're meeting with the chief and the lieutenant.
I don't believe I ever met with Chief Parrish. I believe
Okay.
it was just Lieutenant Drake.
Okay, and your understanding was that based on another meeting that the lieutenant in chief had with the prosecutor, that you were to charge the plaintiffs in this case.
Correct.
Okay. Did you do any investigation yourself?
The extent of what I did, I reviewed the offense report prepared by Sergeant Bogany and the supplemental report by Officer Paskey, and I reviewed their body camera footage, and then just based on what I had seen at the scene is what I did. And I collected the 911 calls that were made to our agency.
Okay. And so on February 4th, you were not actually, you weren't dispatched to the location.
No.
You just heard the dispatch call and you decided to go out there yourself.
Yes.
Okay. What were you doing at the time you heard the dispatch?
I'm not sure exactly what I was in my office. I don't know what I was working on at the moment, but I usually have my police radio on, and for situations like this that I think they may need help or something, I'll usually go try to help or assist if I need to.
Okay, on February 4th, 2022, do you know how big the Livingston Police Department was?
I don't know the exact number of employees.
Was it 10? How many peace officers?
At that time, 15, 20.
Okay, and obviously they were split up in shifts.
Yeah, yes, and then there were additional officers that are assigned to the school district.
Okay. And so you heard dispatch was sending units. Did you notify dispatch that you were going out to the scene?
I don't specifically remember in this case, but normally I will tell dispatch that I'm going to the scene as well.
Okay, and is there some kind of code or something that, for example, an officer could relay to dispatch as to whether or not more units are needed or less units are needed?
You can just ask. I mean, we don't really use codes much anymore. It's more plain speak. And so if you need somebody or don't, you can relay that to dispatch and she'll broadcast it.
Okay. And so you understood there was a call about a man in the housing authority carrying a gun and going into an apartment.
Correct.
Okay. And so you were like, let me go see what's going on, see if there's help needed, basically.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. And then your supplement talks about, or your report talks about, real quick, what's your badge number?
210.
210. And what's your PDID?
378.
Okay. And then once you exit your vehicle, it says, I heard someone state the suspect had exited a black car. There was only one black car in the area.
Correct.
So who did you hear that from, another officer or from someone else?
I don't know. I don't recall where I heard that information from.
Okay. And then at some point you, I guess you contacted Lieutenant Drake to tell him about the situation.
Yes.
Did you do that by phone or by text, or how did you do that?
Telephone call.
Okay. And what did Lieutenant Drake tell you?
He told us as long as everybody was, okay, and there was no current pressing issue, just go ahead and leave the scene, and we would review what had happened and determine if an offense had occurred.
Okay. So, and this was based on the information you provided the lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay. And of course, before having that call with the lieutenant, you had already spoken to the officers on the scene.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but you were able to identify one of the individuals inside the apartment as Brandon White?
Yes.
And your supplement says, quote, I am familiar with White as he runs a YouTube channel titled America First, where he posts videos of law enforcement officials he records with his cell phone.
Yes.
Okay, and this is based on, I guess, information that Chief Parrish previously told you?
Yeah, he had explained to us about Mr. White and posting the videos to YouTube, and I had went to YouTube and managed to find a video of him interacting with one of our officers, and I don't specifically remember which video it was, and that's how I became aware of him.
Okay. Did you have any concerns with the way Mr. White, his conduct was in that video?
No.
Okay. And then your supplement goes on to say, quote, I also noticed a cell phone that was propped up inside a window next to the front door that appeared to be filming our interaction as well.
Yes.
Okay. Is it illegal to have a cell phone propped up inside a window?
No.
Why did you think it was recording?
Because it was attached to a power cable, and I assumed that unless the phone needed power, it wouldn't. If that's where they wanted to put it, that was fine. But if it was doing an action, then it was going to need power, so it was plugged up for that reason.
Okay, so you saw that it had a power cable.
Yes.
Okay, did it look like that was a permanent fixture then?
No, it didn't appear it was permanent.
Okay. You were the detective assigned to this incident.
Yes.
Did you ever obtain a search warrant to collect that cell phone?
I did not.
Okay, why not?
I did not believe the cell phone would still be there. I wasn't sure where it would be.
Did you ever go back and look?
No.
Okay. Is this because you weren't instructed to get a search warrant?
I was not instructed to get a search warrant.
Okay. Did you think that that video could have been helpful to your investigation?
Possibly.
Okay. And you said earlier the extent of your investigation. Is that all you did? Is that all you did? Just discussing with the lieutenant, Middleton, reviewing the incident reports, collecting the 911 calls. Did you do anything else, such as look for whether any videos were actually posted on social media?
I did, and I found the video. I believe it was Brandon's video that was posted to YouTube of the event, but I can't for sure say it was his video. I know there was a video that I did see that was filmed from inside the apartment. I just don't know who was filming.
Okay, and the video was not the one that was propped up on the window?
No.
It was someone holding the video?
Yes.
Right? And it started filming from the time the officers had approached the front door?
Yes.
Okay. So there was no video, there was nothing in that video suggesting any kind of plan or anything that you saw?
That I saw, no.
And would you agree it appeared that the crux of the video was about the right to carry a firearm with the suppressor?
Say it again, I'm sorry?
Did it appear that the crux of the video was about an individual's right to carry a firearm with a suppressor?
Yes.
Did you hear any commentary in the video at all about whether or not this was a test of police officer response?
No.
You put in your supplement that, quote, I explained to the male individual who had the gun on his hip that someone was offended by him carrying the gun and they had contacted law enforcement.
Correct.
Right. So just because someone's offended, it doesn't mean it's a crime.
Right.
People get offended, I'm sure, every day.
Yes.
And if I also understand correctly, did you have a body-worn camera that day?
I did not.
Okay. Is that because you were a detective?
Correct. Yeah, detectives are not assigned body-worn cameras, and I believe at that time we were having issues with our body-worn cameras. Someone, I don't know if they were out of date or if the software was malfunctioning or what the case was. We didn't. We only had so many available, and they were assigned to the patrol division.
Okay. So I'm sure you heard the questions I was asking the sergeant about the offense portion of the incident report being filled in. You recall me?
The what part?
In the incident report under the offense category.
Yes.
Do you know how the offense was inputted into the incident report?
I changed it from incident to the charge that's on there now.
Okay. Do you know why it lists 199 instead of your PDID?
No, I don't know.
Okay, but you were the one that made that change.
Yes, I did change it. Yes.
Okay. And I guess that would have been on or after February 8th.
It would have been after the discussion I had with Lieutenant Drake.
Okay. Did you, so when Mr. Rankin informed you and other officers that he didn't need to show any paperwork, did you take any additional steps to determine whether that was correct or not?
About the silencer?
Yes.
Or the suppressor? No, I did not.
Okay. Did you instruct anybody to look into it further?
No.
Okay. Did the lieutenant instruct anybody to look into that issue?
Not that I'm aware of.
And then afterwards, you then called Lieutenant Drake again?
I called him one time from the scene.
Okay. So that, and the reason I ask is because for that February 4th incident, the last statement on your narrative is, quote, "I spoke to Lieutenant Drake again, and it was determined that Sergeant Bogany and Officer Paskey would complete a report over the incident and it would be reviewed."
Yes, that was in person. That was an in-person discussion.
Okay, and that was back at the department?
Yes.
Okay. So what was the discussion then you had with Lieutenant Drake at the department?
I went back and just briefed him on what had happened and what we had observed. And then he just told me that he would have him do an offense report and we would review it and see if it turned into an offense or not.
What did you understand had happened?
I understood that somebody had witnessed a man with a gun and they were concerned for their safety as well as the safety of the neighborhood they were in. And we had responded and located the male.
Okay. And you told him that it was Mr. White was there?
Told who?
Lieutenant Drake.
Yes.
And that it appeared they were filming.
Yes.
Okay. At what point did you find the video on YouTube?
I can't recall how long it was. It wasn't long after that.
Okay. You didn't reference the video at all in your affidavit, right?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So you viewing that video, would you include that as part of your investigation in this case, or did that come after?
I don't know exactly when I watched it.
Okay.
Or when I found it.
So then you take the weekend off, take Monday off. You come back on Tuesday.
Yes.
February 8th. And then you meet with Lieutenant Drake again.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the substance of that meeting?
He explained to me there had been a meeting with the district attorney, Lee Hahn. I believe there was another prosecutor, Tammy Pierce, in the meeting, along with what was described to me as department heads from agencies throughout the county. I don't know who all was in attendance, but the offense report Sergeant Bogany had completed was taken and reviewed by Mr. Hahn, and it was determined that these charges would be filed.
Okay. Was it your impression that the intent was to charge these individuals to stop their conduct in filming police?
No.
Okay. Are you aware of what the conversations were between Chief Parrish and the City of Corrigan Police Chief about First Amendment auditors?
No.
Okay. And then you met with Detective Middleton because you understood he was assigned to charge the plaintiffs on a separate incident.
Yes.
Okay, what was the substance of that discussion?
Detective Middleton advised me he was able to identify the person that had the gun.
And that was it?
Yeah.
Okay. And then at that point, on February 8th, you went back to listen to the 911 calls?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever able to identify who made those calls?
It was Megan Ross and an unidentified individual.
Okay. Did you make any attempts to identify that individual?
No.
Okay. And dispatch would have had the number that individual called from, correct?
It was possible that they did, but I didn't get the phone number that they had called from.
Did you speak to dispatch about it?
No.
Okay. Did you go talk to Miss Ross about it?
I did not.
Okay, so other than, and to be clear, the lieutenant did not make the scene, right?
No, he was not on scene.
Okay, and Detective Middleton did not make the scene.
No.
Okay, so who did you actually speak to in your investigation that was actually present on the scene?
Who did I speak to?
Yes.
About the incident?
Yes. On February 8th or later.
I had a brief discussion that day with Sergeant Bogany, Officer Paskey, and then when I got back to the office, I spoke to the Lieutenant and Chief about what had happened.
Okay, was that on February 8th or back on February 4th?
Before.
Okay, so when you spoke to Bogany and Paskey, that was out on the scene.
It was either there or back at the office, I'm not sure. Or maybe both.
Okay, and then you said when you got back to the office, you had spoken to the chief as well?
Yes.
Okay, was this the same conversation with the lieutenant?
Yes, he was in the room as well. We were in actually the chief's office.
Okay. And so the two individuals you for sure had identified was Melanie and Brandon White.
Yes.
Okay, what were the chief's comments?
He wanted to pull the 911 call so we could see what the caller had said. And so we listened to the 911 call in his office.
Okay, but when you went out to the scene, you didn't have the information from the 911 calls?
No, only what dispatch had broadcast.
Which was man with a gun walking into an apartment?
Yes.
And when you arrived on the scene, did it appear that there was chaos?
No.
Was there panic?
No.
Did you, was there any discussion at all to get a search warrant for this incident?
No. Not that I was part of.
Okay. Were you aware of what was there any discussion that the DA would seek a high bond amount in this case?
Not that I was aware of.
What did you charge the plaintiffs with?
False report to induce an emergency response.
Okay. And did you independently go look up the elements of that offense before you charged it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And what do you understand those elements to be, if you recall?
I don't know the actual, at the moment, I don't have it memorized, but if we wanted to look it up and read it out loud, I can.
Okay, so the first would be if a person, and I'll just skip to the part that I think is probably relevant to your inquiry.
Okay.
If a person causes a report of a criminal offense or an emergency to be made to a peace officer, law enforcement agency, 911 service.
Yes.
Okay. And the person knows that the report is false. Right? And the report causes an emergency response from a law enforcement agency or other emergency responder. And in making the report or causing the report to be made, the person is reckless with regard to whether the emergency response, et cetera, may direct result in bodily injury to another. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
And so,
Sorry.
did you have any concerns with whether the factual circumstances as you understood them met the elements of this offense?
Rephrase it again, I'm sorry.
So you were instructed to charge the plaintiffs with false report to induce emergency response, right?
Yes.
And your understanding was you charged it, the prosecutor would prosecute it.
Yes.
Right. Did you independently have any concerns about whether the factual circumstances of that incident met the elements of false report to induce emergency response?
No.
Okay. So is it true that Texas is an open carry state where citizens can legally carry firearms in public?
Yes.
Okay. Was Plaintiff Rankin's firearm holstered as far as you saw it?
In the house it was.
Okay. Matter of fact, you didn't collect any witness statements from anybody that suggested otherwise.
Correct.
Nobody collected any statements suggesting otherwise.
Correct.
And so is your position that legally carrying a firearm, even with a suppressor, constitutes knowingly initiating a false report?
Objection form.
No.
Okay, so what conduct did Rankin or other plaintiffs do that would have constituted the causing of filing a report?
The walking around in the residential neighborhood with a gun on, either on his hip or out of the holster, I'm not sure which it was, and walking around and cause someone to contact the police.
Okay, how many people have you had to... Let me back up. Okay, do you know when Texas became a, quote, constitutional carry state?
I do not.
Okay, do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes.
Or what do I mean by that?
I'm
Constitutional
sorry.
carry?
Yeah, so they can carry without a permit.
And that, honestly, a lot of people may not know this, but that's actually a recent development. I think 2021 timeframe,
Sounds accurate.
Objection
or
form.
maybe a little earlier.
Yeah, I don't know the exact time.
So have you had to deal with calls before where people are concerned about people walking around with firearms?
It's possible. I can't think of any off right now, but it's very possible.
Okay. And in those circumstances, you just have to educate people that, hey, there's nothing illegal with that?
Correct.
Okay. So in this circumstance, and I just want to be sure I'm clear on this. Initially, you said that Texas is open carry state.
Correct.
Where you can walk around with a firearm. And then you later said that the conduct that Rankin was doing was walking around the housing authority with a firearm,
Objection form.
right?
Yes.
Objection form.
So what activity was Rankin doing that you thought was illegal?
So I should have clarified earlier. He walked around with the firearm openly displayed or in his hand or in the holster, however it was, where others could see it. He's in a residential neighborhood. There's playgrounds built throughout the area. There's commonly children out there playing, other people walking around doing whatever they do outside, and in an attempt to get the police come over so that they could be filmed.
Okay, let me talk about that attempt. Based on what?
What's that? Say it again?
So you said what Rankin did that was wrong was, and I'm summarizing, I'm not going to,
Right.
we got your exact words. But essentially, and correct me if I'm wrong, essentially what Rankin did was he walked around a housing authority where children could be, right?
Yes.
And that other people didn't like it, or they were offended by it,
Sure.
Objection form.
right? That was
Yes.
your word in the
Objection
report,
form.
offended.
Yes.
Objection form.
So is that illegal?
Objection form.
Walking around a housing authority with a firearm?
Objection
No.
form.
And then your second part of your testimony, again, I'm summarizing, is that you said it was done in an attempt to cause people to call 911,
Objection form.
right?
Yes.
Where was that? Where did you get that from?
Because we received a 911 call from an individual that saw it.
And please clarify if I'm wrong.
Sure.
So your testimony is that because Rankin walked around with a firearm openly, which is legal in Texas, and because someone called 911, that must have been what he wanted to have happen?
Objection form.
It is possible.
Based on what?
Based on when they got there, the
Objection form.
plaintiffs had their phones out ready to record the police when they showed up at the residence.
Okay, so, but you weren't there during the initial response from law enforcement officers.
No.
Okay, so you don't know if they started recording after law enforcement knocked on their door.
Objection.
I don't know exactly at what point the video started or if it was altered or I don't know.
Okay. And you could have figured this out if you had spoke to the responding officer?
Objection form.
Yes.
If someone calls 911 about a person's lawful activity, does that make the person engaged in the lawful activity guilty of making a false report?
I'm sorry, say it again.
If someone calls 911 about a person's lawful activity.
Okay.
Does that make the person engaged in that lawful activity guilty of making a false report?
No.
Did you investigate whether Miss Ross had a history of calling 911 on people?
No.
Isn't a false report about the lawful activity the responsibility of the person making the report and not the person engaged in the activity?
Objection form.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Isn't the crux of the charge I don't want to mess it up here. Isn't the crux of the charge, as you if not, clarify, that false report to induce emergency response is focused on the responsibility of the person actually making the report and not the person engaged in lawful activity?
Well, it would be the person's intent that they wanted someone to call 911. Whoever was engaged in whatever activity they were engaging in.
Did you watch the body worn cameras from this incident?
I did.
Okay, and you also saw the report from Miss Ross as well. Not report, but her statement.
I did, yeah.
Okay, would you agree that her concern was about her ex-boyfriend's wife?
I remember that was mentioned, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't recall what the statement said exactly, but I know that was mentioned in it.
Okay, and she thought that possibly she didn't know if Rankin was involved in that whole situation.
I believe that's correct.
Okay. But you never went and got any follow-up statements from her?
No.
Do you know if the lieutenant or chief had discussions with her?
I do not.
Okay. So if I'm driving the speed limit and someone calls 911 to report me for speeding when I'm not, would I be guilty of making a false report?
Objection form.
No.
Could I be arrested for making a false report?
Objection form.
No.
Do you know, and I know there's no expectation for you to, but I think I saw somewhere, no, it was actually a call recording. But are you personally aware of any case law interpreting the statute that you charged the plaintiffs with?
You said case law?
Yes.
No, I'm not.
Okay. What evidence do you have that plaintiffs intended for anyone to call 911 when Rankin was legally carrying his firearm?
The 911 call, and then the videos that were posted to YouTube, and the body-worn camera that we call it, the footage from Sergeant Bogany's camera and Officer Passey's camera.
Okay, but was there any of those things suggested that the plaintiffs intended someone to call 911?
Objection form.
Yeah, because they were waiting at the house with their cameras ready to film the officers when they arrived.
So you're saying that there's video of the plaintiffs filming before the officers arrived?
No, as they approached the residence.
You mean after they knocked on the door?
I don't know at what point they began recording.
Okay. But they weren't out there, they weren't filming before the officers arrived.
Objection.
I don't know that.
You don't know? Okay. Before filing your affidavit, did you consult with anybody in the department about whether engaging in lawful activity that someone else misinterprets satisfies the elements of the offense?
Objection form.
Is it your understanding then that if anyone is legally carrying a firearm in a public place that they could be charged with a crime if somebody reports them?
Objection form.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Is it your understanding that if anyone is legally carrying a firearm in public in Texas, that they could be charged with the crime if someone reports them?
No.
Objection form.
If I misinterpreted what you are doing right now as a crime, and I called 911 on you, could you be charged with the crime?
Objection.
No.
So when you were on the scene, you actually understood, did you understand that the reason they were filming was for accountability?
Objection form.
I was not aware why they were filming.
Okay, you didn't make a statement to them about somebody has to watch the watchers?
I made some type of statement about that, yes.
Okay, why would you make that statement?
It was just off the cuff moment that I replied with. Just a comment I replied with.
Okay, but you understood it was because you knew why they were filming you all.
I knew in the past Mr. White had just filmed just to film. He didn't intervene or get in the way.
Did you eventually understand what plaintiffs were doing in Ms. Trumbull's apartment?
No.
Okay, so you didn't know that they were gathering and making signs to go protest in the city of Corrigan?
Objection
No, I did
form.
not know that.
Okay. Did you have any meetings yourself with the district attorney about the charges in this case?
No.
So separate from the lieutenant telling you to charge these individuals, did you establish probable cause yourself for each plaintiff?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with Rankin.
Okay.
All right. What is your probable cause that Rankin committed the offense of false report to induce emergency response?
He walked around in the neighborhood with a firearm in plain view. Someone was offended by it and called, and he went back into the residence and told Melanie that the neighbor had saw him and that the police were probably on the way, and then they had their phones ready to record the officers when they arrived. And also the phone propped up in the window that was plugged into a power outlet that seemed to be recording.
Okay, did Rankin film? Did
Not
he
that
film?
I'm aware of.
Okay. Were you involved in the seizure of Rankin's phone?
No.
Okay, so there was no search warrant to get any of those videos or anything
Objection form.
that you know of.
That I'm aware of, no.
Okay. And so if the neighbor had not seen him, would there have been a crime?
If the neighbor had not seen him,
Yes.
it would still be a crime, even if it was unseen.
Okay. And what would the crime have been then?
It'd be the same crime, just nobody witnessed the act to report it to the police.
Okay. And so was the report itself that there was a man with a gun, was that false?
No.
Do you think the plaintiffs did anything to escalate the situation?
They were being argumentative with Sergeant Boggany and Officer Paskey.
Other than being argumentative?
No.
Okay. And it's not against the law to be argumentative?
No.
Okay. Okay, what's your probable cause for Melanie Trimble? Let me back up. What probable cause did you have to charge Melanie Trimble with false report to induce emergency response?
As Rankin entered back into the house, and he explained to her that the neighbor outside and saw him, and she seemed alarmed that she was probably going to call the police, and then she had a phone out ready to record when the officers arrived.
Okay, and just to be clear, they had their phones inside the residence?
Yes.
Okay, is it illegal to film police from inside the residence?
No.
Okay. Okay, so by the mere fact that Rankin came in to talk to Melanie and then she had her phone, that's probable cause, in your opinion, to charge her with false report to induce emergency response?
Yes.
Objection form.
Okay. How about for Brandon White?
It's the same. He was in the house when Rankin walked in and told him the same thing that he told Melody. And he had his phone out also ready to record upon the officer's arrival.
So you prepared 4 affidavits in this case, correct? I'm sorry.
3.
3 affidavits. 1 for White, 1 for Rankin, and 1 for Trimble.
Yes.
Okay. All 3 affidavits are the language contained in them is the same.
I believe so.
Okay. You didn't accuse any plaintiff of doing anything differently than the other in the affidavit.
No.
Objection form.
Okay. So the exact same information that you wrote for Rankin, you also wrote for Trimble,
Objection
Yes.
form.
and the same information for White.
Yes.
Objection form.
Okay. Did you do any? I think I already got that. Were the affidavits reviewed by any supervisor?
No.
Did you use a standard template for the affidavits?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of template did you use?
It's just the blank affidavit that we have from previous affidavits we drew up.
So you wrote the narrative piece by scratch.
Yes.
Okay.
So the top part there comes from the text of the charging manual,
Okay.
and you just change the information to reflect the offense that you're charging.
Okay, so the portion where you say I have good reason to believe and do believe based upon the following information,
Yes.
you wrote all that in yourself.
Yes, that the larger paragraph at the bottom. Yes.
Okay. Why was identical language used for all 3 plaintiffs?
Usually in cases where there's multiple defendants, it's easier to just have a summary of the incident instead of going through and putting different actions for each defendant, unless there's something that needs to be addressed that the others weren't aware of.
And you watched Sergeant Bogany's body-worn camera when he was interviewing Miss Ross?
Yes.
Okay. And there was no inquiry with Miss Ross about the exact conduct of Mr. Rankin?
No. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And so do you think that would matter?
What would matter?
Figuring out exactly what Rankin was doing.
Of course.
Okay. So, for example, so you put in these affidavits that, where was that? So, a client would show a 911 caller stated the male was walking with the gun in his hand and the entire neighborhood was going crazy,
Yes.
right? But you didn't state in there that no one identified this male, right?
Right.
And no one had attempted to contact this individual.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, nobody, but you would, let me back up. Do you know if the dispatcher would have had this individual's phone number when they called into 911?
It's possible.
Okay, and the dispatcher would often have that information.
Occasionally they do, sometimes they don't.
When you heard one of the 911 calls was Miss Ross calling in and then hanging up, right?
Yes.
And the dispatcher actually reported, hey, Miss Ross just called back and hung up. So she knew it was Miss Ross.
I don't recall that.
Okay. So you didn't hear all the calls related.
Objection form.
What's that?
So you didn't hear all the 911 calls related then?
Objection form.
I heard the ones that I was supplied with.
Okay. So when you got to the scene, was the entire neighborhood going crazy?
No.
Okay, and you didn't include that in your affidavit?
No.
Okay, do you think that information would have been important for a judge to evaluate whether probable cause existed?
It's possible.
And then it said a fine would also show a second 911 call was also received by this department. But then you don't include any information about that call, do you?
No.
And then it says a fine would show, due to the nature of the call, 5 additional officers left their normal duties in order to respond. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Who told those officers to respond to the call?
I think they took it upon themselves to show up.
Okay. Nobody dispatched them to go out?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Sergeant Bogney didn't. He was the individual dispatched to the scene.
Yes.
Right? He didn't call for any backup.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did you collect statements from these 5 officers to talk about them leaving their normal duties to go respond to the call?
I did not.
Did you collect any statements from them generally?
No.
So how do you know that the officers left their normal duties in order to respond?
Because they assisted the patrol division with a call, and all those other officers are school-based officers that would have had other duties at the school.
But are you assuming, or do you know?
Do I know that they work for the school?
No. Do you know that they had other duties going on at that time, or are you assuming that?
I don't know what the duties were, but I know that they're assigned to the school and they were doing duties for the school.
So you knew they were assigned to the school, right?
Yes.
And you knew that they had responsibilities, I guess, with that assignment.
Yes.
But at the time they responded to the call, what were they doing?
I'm not aware of that. They were not assigned to patrol.
Okay. And they weren't dispatched to go either.
No.
Would that information have been helpful for a judge to evaluate probable cause?
Objection form.
It's possible.
Do you know if there were any prior discussions with the judge prior to these affidavits being submitted to him?
No.
When you took these affidavits to the judge, did you say anything to him?
Did I say anything to the judge?
Yeah.
Other than I had some warrants for him to review.
Okay, and then he read your statement.
I gave him a brief synopsis of what happened, and then he read the probable cause affidavits.
Did you tell him you were out at the scene as well?
I believe so, but I'm not certain.
Okay, did the judge ask you any questions?
No, he did not.
Okay, how long did it take for the judge to review this and sign all 4?
A few minutes.
And is the judge the one that wrote in the recommended bond amount?
Yes.
Okay. What was the discussion concerning bonds?
There was not one.
There was not,
A discussion about the bond?
was the prosecutor present?
No, it was just the judge and I.
Okay. And the judge just wrote in the bond amount?
Yes.
Okay. When the judge signed the affidavits, did you relay that information or when the judge signed the warrants, did you relay that information to the chief?
Yeah, I went back to the police department with the warrants and advised Lieutenant Drake that the warrants had been issued.
Okay, and then the information was shared with the department?
Yes.
Okay, do you know how the city of Corrigan found out about the warrants?
No, I do not.
Were you surprised by the amount of the bonds?
No, I honestly don't remember what they were.
$105,000?
Okay.
Does that seem
Objection
It's possible.
form.
I don't remember.
okay? And then you put in there as well that a fine would show there was a cell phone observed propped up in a window that faced the front door while Sergeant Bogney and Paskey were standing but you don't even know if that cell phone was recording.
No.
And you didn't make any effort to go collect it.
No.
So why do you think it was important to include that information in here?
Because it was part of the reason we believed a crime had occurred.
Did you relay anything to the judge about the fact of how you knew Brandon White?
It's possible, but I don't recall any specific conversation I had regarding that.
Wait, what do you... So, you didn't include anything about Brandon White here, but you think it would have come up as a judge saying this is what?
It's possible that just know this guy from what he's been doing in Livingston, but I don't know if we had that conversation or not.
Did that fact matter to you, that Brandon White films police?
No.
Okay, but it might have been important enough to say to the judge you just can't remember?
Objection form.
Just to let him know that they were local individuals, because sometimes the judges will ask if it's a local person or if it's a person that came to Livingston from somewhere else.
Okay, and then you put in here too that the individuals refused to comply with the demand to identify themselves.
Correct.
Is there a requirement for them to identify themselves?
Not that time, no.
Okay, and you didn't make that clear in this affidavit either, did you?
No.
Objection form.
You also put in here too that Rankin was the suspect in possession of a handgun and refused to show any paperwork in regards to the silencer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was he
Yes.
was he required to provide that paperwork?
Not that I'm aware of.
And you didn't put any information in your affidavit about that,
Objection form.
right?
No.
Objection form.
As a matter of fact, you didn't do any research at all about that issue,
No, I did not.
or not research, but investigation.
As far as the firearm, no.
Do you know do you know whether or not you're allowed to rely on a 911 call if you're unable to identify the individual who made the call?
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, like if just some random person calls 911 and says, "Hey, this guy at the bus stop has drugs on him," is that deemed reliable for purposes of probable cause?
Objection form.
Yes.
It is, even if the individual doesn't identify themselves.
The caller?
If a caller just says some random guy has drugs, are you allowed to, not reasonable suspicion, I'm talking about probable cause. Are you allowed to use that information to then arrest and charge that
Oh,
individual?
no.
Okay. And so you don't make clear in your affidavit that one of these 911 callers is unidentified, right?
Correct.
Why not?
It was an oversight.
Oversight,
at
or
that
did you want to frame the affidavits as plaintiffs were criminals
Objection
who are wasting
form.
law enforcement resources?
No.
Sitting here today, do you personally think, still today, everything that you've seen or whatever, matter of fact, let me back up. What do you do to prepare for today's deposition?
Reviewed the offense report that Sergeant Bogany and Officer Paskey had prepared, and then the supplements that went along with it.
Okay, and that was it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have any discussions with the chief at all about your deposition?
No.
Did you have any discussions with anybody about plaintiff's depositions yesterday?
No.
So sitting here today, is it still your impression that plaintiffs engaged in criminal activity of false report to induce emergency response?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that those charges were dismissed?
I was not.
Are you aware that the judge had originally quashed the indictments for failing to assert any actual crime?
Objection form.
No.
Did you give any testimony before any grand jury regarding this case?
No.
Did you have any communications with prosecutors about the grand jury process?
I did not.
Do you know if there were grand jury proceedings against plaintiffs?
No.
Did prosecutors talk to you at all about a potential reindictment process?
No.
Are you aware that the prosecutors, rather than reindict, then turn around and dismissed the case?
Objection form.
So you don't know why the charges were ultimately dismissed?
Objection.
No, I didn't know they were dismissed.
What is the Livingston Police Department's procedures for reviewing and approving arrest warrant affidavits?
Typically, the detectives will issue the arrest warrants and they will go to the judge. They aren't typically reviewed.
So there's no review process by like a supervisor or district attorney's office, just straight to the judge?
Yes, straight to the judge.
Is that what happened in this case?
Yes.
How many discussions did you have with the police chief from the time you were told to charge the case and before going to the judge?
None with the chief.
How many with the lieutenant?
Maybe 2 or 3.
And was that discussion concerning the circumstances of what had occurred?
Yeah, it was the discussion about the meeting they had, and then once I obtained the warrants and told him that they were issued.
Was the purpose to go after plaintiffs because they were filming?
No.
Okay, so you don't know if the goal was to stop plaintiffs from engaging in similar activity in the future?
No.
All right. You were generally aware, I guess, that White had some prior interactions with Livingston police officers and filming them, right?
Yes.
And you were also aware that he was filming police officers in the city of Corrigan.
I didn't know about the Corrigan incident. I knew that he had filmed officers in Livingston.
Okay. Were you familiar with Chief Parrish's press release about this incident?
Yes.
Did he talk to you before he wrote it?
No.
Did you have any involvement in the drafting of the press release?
No.
So the press release states, quote, officers determined there was no threat to anyone and these individuals had created the panic in the residential district to have police respond so they could be recorded for their social media channels. Did you observe any panic in the residential district?
I did not.
Okay, you just understood that at least one person, Miss Ross, thought that an individual with the firearm was related to her ex-boyfriend's wife.
Objection form.
Right?
Yeah, I just knew that she was offended some way. I'm not exactly sure why. She was offended that he was walking around with a gun in the housing authority.
Okay. So had the plaintiffs not filmed the police responding to their property, to their Ms. Trimble's apartment, is it your understanding that they would have still engaged in the false report to induce emergency response?
Objection
It's
form.
possible.
But is that to you a pretty big factor?
Objection form.
That is what a pretty big factor.
That they were filming?
Yes.
And you knew prior to February 4th, 2022, of Mr. White's propensity to film police.
Yes.
And you knew that Ms. Trimble would also film police?
I did not know she did. No.
Okay.
Not till that day.
Did you know that she had a relationship with White?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But you recognized Mr. White on February 4th, 2022?
Yes.
Okay. And you didn't include that in your arrest warrant affidavit either?
No.
And you may or may not have told the judge about that?
It's possible. I don't remember.
What knowledge of the evening incident let me back up. Evening incident, I'm talking about the traffic stop with Officer Simmons later that day on February 4th. Okay.
Okay.
What knowledge of that incident, of the evening incident, do you have involving Officer Simmons and the plaintiffs?
I just knew that they had followed Officer Simmons around Livingston, and that eventually they followed him back to the office, and they went over to the bank and sat and were watching our back door to our office.
Okay, is this just based on discussions you had internally, or is this based on something else?
No, it's just what I had heard when I came back to work.
Okay, is this something Lieutenant Drake would have told you?
I don't remember who told me.
Okay, did you review any of the body cam footage from those stops?
No.
Did you discuss the case with Officer Simmons or Officer Reyes?
No.
Did you make any assessment at all about whether probable cause existed for their arrest from the evening incident?
No.
Were you involved at all in the seizure of any of the plaintiff's property?
No.
What's the department policy on returning seized property?
If there's no evidentiary value to an item, we can return it to the owner. Or if it's not illegal to possess.
Were you involved in the decision to keep the plaintiff's phones for nearly 2 years?
No.
So I guess if you didn't know the cases, the charges were dismissed, you didn't have any discussions with any of the officers about the dismissals?
No.
Were there any changes in department policy as a result of this case?
No.
If you could go back in time, would you handle this case differently?
No.
Other than carrying a firearm in the housing authority, is it your understanding that Rankin did something different or did something else?
Objection form.
What do you mean?
Well, if I understand your position correctly, it was Rankin's intent to provoke a 911 call by walking around with a firearm.
Okay.
Objection
Yes.
form.
Is that your...
Yes.
Okay.
Objection form.
So if he's allowed to carry a firearm, was there some other act or conduct that Rankin did other than carrying the firearm?
Objection.
I'm not aware of any.
Okay. I just need a quick second. You don't want to go off the record. Just...
Sorry.
Have you ever arrested anybody for false report to induce emergency response?
I don't recall, but it is possible I have.
Okay, but is that information easy for you to locate if you've ever arrested anyone for that offense?
We should be able to.
Okay.
This may take a while.
No, and I'll make it real easy for you. This act passed in September 1, 2021. So have you arrested anybody since September 1, 2021?
Objection form.
I don't recall.
Okay. But you've only been with the Livingston Police Department since that time?
Since when?
Since at least September 1, 2021, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you knew your statement said that you understood that the suspect was in a black vehicle. Did you understand that to be Rankin was in a black vehicle?
Yes, that he had went to that vehicle from the house in the back.
Okay, so he actually went. So there was a purpose for him being outside.
Objection form.
Possible.
He went to the vehicle, right?
Okay.
Objection.
Based on your own testimony.
Correct.
Do you know why you went to the vehicle?
No.
Did you ever get a search warrant to search the vehicle?
No.
Do you have any evidence or information to suggest that Rankin was doing? Do you have any information or evidence or statements or anything to suggest that Rankin wasn't just simply walking from his vehicle?
Objection form.
Do I have any evidence that he was doing anything other than walking to his vehicle?
Right.
No.
Objection.
So from his vehicle to Miss Trimble's apartment.
No.
Form.
Okay. Do you know if the plaintiff's phones were ever searched?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Were you ever able to find any communications between plaintiffs indicating they planned to induce a 911 call?
No.
Did plaintiffs on the scene, whether you heard personally through statements or on body-worn camera, ever make any statements suggesting they intended to cause Ms. Ross or anyone to call 911?
Objection form.
So you also mentioned the cell phones propped up in a window. Isn't it true that many people use security cameras in their homes?
Yes, they did.
Okay. And this device could have been installed long before this incident?
It's possible.
Because you saw a power cable to it.
Yes.
Okay. And sitting here today, did you ever learn that those cameras actually were installed previously?
Objection form.
No.
Okay. So did you investigate whether the device in the window was installed specifically for this incident or was pre-existing?
No.
Thank you for your time. I pass.
I've got a couple of follow-up questions. Opposing counsel was asking you about the recommended bond amount that was set regarding the false report to induce emergency response. I'm going to show you defendants 000022. That's the arrest warrant pertaining to Brandon Michael White. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the recommended bond amount isn't $105,000, is it?
No.
What is the recommended bond amount?
$5,000.
And who came up with that recommended bond amount?
Judge Wells.
Okay. Did you suggest in any way what the bond amount would be?
No.
Okay. Do you know how Judge Wells determined that bond amount?
I do not.
Okay. Now I'm going to show you defendants 000020, and that's the arrest warrant of Melanie Renee McCrory. Is that right?
Correct.
And it's on the false report to induce emergency response?
Yes.
And what's that recommended bond amount?
$5,000.
Okay, so it's not the $105,000.
Correct.
And again, did you suggest any amount to Judge Wells?
I did not.
Okay. And then I'll show you defendant 00018. That's an arrest warrant for Matthew Rankin, is that right?
Correct.
On the charge of false report to induce emergency response.
Yes.
And what is that recommended bond amount?
$5,000.
Who came up with that recommended bond amount?
Judge Wells.
Did you suggest to him what it should be?
No, I did not.
Okay. I want there's another big issue that I want to clarify because opposing counsel was asking you several almost hypotheticals. And although I believe them to be inappropriate, I do want you to tell me a little bit about probable cause. So how do you determine probable cause? What do you look at?
If an officer believes an offense has occurred or is about to occur.
All right. Are you looking for one specific facts? Do you look at the totality of the circumstances? What specifically are you looking at?
It's the totality of the circumstance.
Okay. So I think that Mr. Grable used the example of an unknown 911 caller and asked if that in and of itself would be probable cause. And I think your answer was no. Was that right?
Right.
Okay. Could that fact in the could that call in the totality of the circumstances give rise to probable cause?
Yes.
All right. So here, any one fact in isolation of the plaintiffs may not give rise to probable cause.
Correct.
However, when you looked at the totality of the circumstances, there was probable cause for the charge.
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions of this witness, and I'll reserve the balance until the time of trial.
So totality of circumstances, that also means you're not allowed to disregard other facts, right?
Correct.
Okay, so for example, would it be relevant, in your opinion, to probable cause whether the identity of the second 911 caller was known?
Objection.
No.
It wouldn't matter.
No.
Okay. What if the second 911 caller was Miss Ross's guest in her apartment? Does that make a difference?
No.
Okay. And so collecting that individual's statement or name and whether or not they have a history of just making false 911 calls, that wouldn't matter?
That is possible. Yes. If you have that information, yes.
Okay. And how do you know that the 911 call is even related whatsoever to this particular incident?
Which 911 call?
Well, the second 911 call about the residents going crazy, right? That individual didn't identify the location, did they?
I'm not entirely sure. I haven't listened to it recently, so I'm not sure exactly what he said.
But the call was only a couple of seconds long, right?
Sure.
Objection form.
And so they didn't identify who they were.
Objection form.
Do you want to listen to the call right now? Would that help?
Sure.
I'm going to play Defendant's Exhibit 257.
Just Bates number 257.
257. "45 seconds long.
So not just a couple.
Couple.
Livingston Police Department.
Yes, ma'am. We need a welfare check here. I'm walking to my truck, and I see a dude with a fucking silencer walking
Yes, sir.
into his
I'm trying to
girlfriend's
get
house.
somebody headed out that way now. Does he have it on? Like he has the gun out?
He had it in his hand. Like he had a gun in his hand.
Okay.
And everybody here is going crazy. This is an apartment
Yes, sir. I'm
complex
trying
where
to
it's
get
nothing
somebody.
but
Yes, sir. I'm
singles.
trying to get somebody out there now. Let me let you go so I can do that. Okay. Do you see
Yes,
him
ma'am.
right now?
No, ma'am.
You don't see him now?
No, ma'am. He's actively inside the apartment.
Okay. I'll let him know.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
That sounds quite like the guy that was with Miss Ross, right?
It does.
Okay. And in that 45-second recording, he hasn't identified the location.
No.
He doesn't identify anything to suggest this is even remotely related, right?
He states there's a man with a silencer on his gun. I don't think there'd be too many people walking around with silencers on their gun at the same time in a small town.
Well, but we don't operate on assumptions either, right?
Objection form.
So how do you know that this call, this 45-second call, right, was related to that incident?
Because there were similar statements made as Ms. Ross's call.
Okay, that was it. But you didn't do any independent investigation to confirm that.
No, I did not have any information based about the caller. I didn't even have the number he called from.
Okay. Does it change at all the fact that the call likely came from Ms. Ross's guest?
Does it change the what?
Fact that, you mentioned there's all these 911 calls. Does it change the fact that they came from the same residence?
No.
Okay. So matter of fact, it wouldn't matter if it was one call or two calls.
Right.
Right? I guess based on what you're arguing they did.
Objection
Correct.
form.
Okay. And matter of fact, you said no calls matter. Like, it didn't matter at all if there was a call. There was still probable cause for the offense.
Objection form.
I said it's possible they could be committing an offense just because they weren't seen.
Right. And so the 911 call, in your opinion, actually didn't matter at all whether it was made.
Objection form.
It does matter.
Okay. I want to clarify that point, right? So earlier you said the 911 call, it like they could still, I don't want to misquote myself here. Earlier, your testimony was that probable cause exists for a false report to induce emergency response, regardless whether a 911 call was made.
Yes.
Objection form.
Okay, is that true?
Objection
Yes.
form.
So the fact that a 911 call was made doesn't matter for your probable cause analysis.
Objection form.
It does.
Okay, so if there was no 911 call, do you think you would have had probable cause to charge the plaintiffs with false report to induce emergency response?
No, because I wouldn't have been made aware of the incident.
Okay, so the 911 call was important. Just Ms. Ross's or both?
Both.
Okay, and it didn't matter who was making the 911 call then?
No.
Okay. And it didn't, never mind. And so one of the essential requirements is that the report was false. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
Okay. Was Ms. Ross's report false?
Objection
No.
form.
So what totality of circumstances in your analysis did you make to determine that the person knows the report is false?
That Mr. Rankin walked outside with a gun in order to alarm someone to call 911 and report it to the police so that they would come to the residence.
But that's not, but you understand, right? Well, let me back up. Maybe you don't. Do you understand that? Let me just do this because you wrote the affidavit, so I need to understand your analysis on this. So a person commits an offense of false report to induce emergency response if they make a report of a criminal offense or, right, causes a report of a criminal offense or emergency to be made, right?
Correct.
So we understand that by Rankin walking outside with this firearm, that he caused apparently the report of a criminal offense or emergency, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's step one. The second thing, which is an and, there's an and requirement, the person knows the report is false,
Yes.
right? So what is your analysis that Ms. Ross's report of Mr. Rankin walking around with the firearm is false?
Objection form.
I interpret that as speaking about Mr. Rankin knew it was a false, that there was no emergency.
Well, that the report of a criminal offense is false?
Yes.
Objection form.
Okay. So your analysis then is on the basis that Rankin knew someone was going to call 911.
Yes.
Okay. And then also, in making the report or causing the report to be made, the person is reckless with regard to whether the emergency response may directly result in bodily injury to another person. Are you aware of that element?
Yes.
Okay, so what was your probable cause analysis there?
There was no bodily injury.
Okay, was there anything in making the report that would have caused bodily injury to another person?
No.
Okay, so you'd agree with me then that there was no probable cause analysis to support the idea that making the report or causing the report to be made, that there could be bodily injury to another person.
Form.
I agree that there was no bodily injury.
That's just not the standard, okay? I want to be clear. It's not whether or not there was bodily injury,
Okay.
right? It's whether or not the person that in making the report, the person is reckless. Let me back up. Do you know what reckless is?
Yes.
Okay. That the person is reckless with regard to whether the emergency response could cause bodily injury to another person.
Objection form.
You understand that?
Yes.
Objection form.
So is it your understanding that you have probable cause that Rankin's actions or any of the plaintiff's actions was reckless in regard to whether law enforcement response could have directly resulted in bodily injury to another?
Objection
It
form.
is possible.
Based on what was your totality of circumstances?
Well, if it's a neighborhood and somebody walks out in front of somebody that's either moving out of the way for a patrol car or a patrol car went through, that results in bodily injury.
So I'm not talking about all the assumptions and speculation. I want to know the totality of circumstances, which requires specifically information available to you
Okay.
to make that assessment. So what information was available to you that Rankin's conduct was reckless to the point to where law enforcement response would have resulted in bodily injury to another?
Objection form.
Well, if he would have fired the gun at somebody, it would have been.
Did he fire the gun?
He did not.
Okay. Did he ever take it out of the holster from what you saw?
From what I saw, no.
Okay. Did you collect any written statements from identified individuals that he took the firearm out of the holster?
No.
Okay. And matter of fact, there was no response from EMS or paramedics or anybody.
Objection
No.
form.
Okay. Would you agree that this statute was probably written more for swatting?
Objection form.
I'm not familiar with that term.
You don't know what swatting is?
No.
Where someone makes a fake call on 911 and says, hey, this person over there is being held hostage. And then SWAT comes in and, could accidentally hurt somebody.
No, it's possible.
Okay, so you're not familiar with swatting?
No.
Okay. But everything that was said, at least with respect to Miss Ross's 911 call, just to be clear, was not a lie. It was true.
Correct.
And police respond. Matter of fact, you would encourage people, if they're concerned about someone's activity, regardless if it's lawful or not, but if they're concerned, to report it.
Yes.
And then law enforcement goes out and they investigate,
Yes.
right? And you all went out to investigate what occurred on February 4th, 2022.
Yes.
And then you took the next 3 days off,
Objection form.
right?
I didn't take them off. I was scheduled to be off, yes.
And I don't mean that in a bad people need time off. I get it.
Right, no, I understand, but it makes it sound like I requested time off, which I did not.
No, but you went home.
Yes.
And then 3 days later, Tuesday, you show back up and you're instructed that this incident is now elevated to where you're going to go get an arrest warrant.
Objection form.
Yes.
And you understood that Middleton was instructed to go get a felony arrest warrant.
Yes.
And so even before you showed up on February 8th, you understood that the decisions were already made on what was going to happen.
Yes.
All right, I pass the witness.
I have no further questions.
Time is 12:41 p.m.